From the east, let's now shift focus to West Africa. The junta-led states, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, are going to launch a common biometric passport as they aim to solidify their alliance after splitting from regional bloc ECOWAS, which they claim is pro-West. Mali's military leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, said that the common biometric passport will facilitate the movement and mobility of citizens across the three nations, and he added that the three Sahel states will be working to put in place the infrastructure needed to strengthen connectivity. Goïta also said that they were planning to launch a shared information channel in order to promote a harmonious dissemination of information in the three states.
Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Ken. And this is your brother Abawan back again with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Racha, Kodash. All praises and glory is due. Right. And in this video, we'll be going into the old reliable, the next major prophecy that is coming on the earth. And this is the gradualism towards the MOTB, because that is the time that we're in right now, right? Esau is making inroads and taking steps moving forward to the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast that's spoken of in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, right? And which, of course, we believe through faith and through this and through the understanding of the scriptures that the mark of the beast is the RFID implantable, okay, because that's a key point right there, right? It's not just any C-HIP that is the MOTB, it is the RFID implantable microchip, okay, and that's a different technology than any other form of microchip technology that exists in this kingdom. So let's get that. Right, so let's get that implantable microchip. And this new keyboard that this Google had made is kind of messing me up, but still going to use it to type. Right, so microchip implants. And should I just let's just go to images just to just so that I won't waste any time. And we see that the RFID, you see that the RFID micro C-HIP implant technology is completely different. And even look at some of the images that you see as the search result. And so lucky, my phone is messing up a lot right now. I don't know what's going on with it. Okay, so you have implantable microchip as the title of the search, and you see what is being shown, and it's different forms of RFID technology that is being used as an implantable micro C-HIP, and that's the Bishop knit right there. And you see, you're even seeing some allusions towards Bible prophecy, where basically it tells you and it shows you that the implantable micro C-HIP is the MOTB. So let's continue and go on down a little bit more. Elon Musk with the brain C-HIP, right? So you have an idea of the kind of technology we are talking about and what we mean when we talk about this C-HIP. It's not just any C-HIP out there. So you say, if you are holding a phone, that means you got the MOTB, because your phone also has a chip in it. If you are driving a car that has a chip in it, whatever you use that has a chip, that's not what we're talking about. We are talking about the actual implantable microchip, the one at the grain of rice, basically. So now, like I was saying, this is the gradualism towards the MOTB. So let's just read this article and read. And you already saw the video that I posted before this one, Lord willing. But let's just read this article as well, and we'll go into it and we'll get the precepts. Mali, Burkina, and Niger to launch biometric passports, Salakia, under new alliance, right? Because I've actually made a video on this before, talking about the alliance of Sahelian states that the leaders of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, you know, coined and began, right? And in that video, I even mentioned how they were planning on making these passports, and they decided to make the passports biometric passports. And what that basically means is that it's a passport that will have aside from it just being a regular passport, it's a passport that will have all your actual, your biometric information. That means your, ID in it. Okay, so let's continue reading this. So Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger will introduce biometric passports as part of their withdrawal from a West African bloc in favor of a new Sahel alliance after military leaders seized power in all three countries, Mali's leader said on Sunday. The three junta-led Sahel neighbors jointly announced in January that they would leave the 15-member Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, which has sought to persuade them to reconsider their decision. Right. The argument is basically that the ECOWAS, which is basically the all the West African nations and the council, right, the organization that all the West African nations are in, is basically owned by the West. Because if you look into the history of the ECOWAS, how it was established and how these meetings are run, you realize that the West, right, which is your Babylon the Great, the UK and France, they control a lot of the affairs that goes on between these nations, and they control the meetings and what is discussed and the policies that are being enacted in this with these nations, right? Because you already know that the elites of Esau Edom are in control of all of the world, and with these new leaders rising up in their coups, and I also did videos going into the coups that were actually set up back then, right? So these new leaders rising up in their coups, namely the president of Burkina Faso, the president of Mali, and the president of Niger. You had a lot of Africans, right? A lot of GX here in Africa holding out hope that, oh, maybe the and the control that the West had against Africa would finally come to an end, because these men that are coming in and enacting all these policies that are benefiting the African people, right? And basically, making moves in order to remove power from the West and move it back into the hands of these quote unquote Africans. Of course, they're not Africans, they're all Israelites, right? All Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, these are right majority Israelites nations, right? And the idea is basically that not that they are in control, or they are moving towards, making their own countries better, right? But you now find out with moves like this that all the whole time they were in Esau's back pocket, right? Because if they were actually against Esau, they'd have already been taken out. But there's little things like this that makes you know that they are controlled opposition. Let's continue reading. In the coming days, a new biometric passport for the AES, Alliance of Sahel States, will be put into circulation with the aim of harmonizing travel documents in our common area and facilitating the mobility of our citizens throughout the world. Malian junta leader Assimi Goita announced on Sunday evening, right? So basically, what to do is to have all your quote unquote biometric data. So that's fingerprints, ID, right? So fingerprints, ID, everything that is connected to your biometrics, basically everything that your ID and your fingerprints are connected to. So that's also your bank accounts, right? Your bank statements, your actual ID, driver's license, and any other thing like that, right? So everything that's those, and even your I'm trying to think of all the things that your ID and your ID, your fingerprints, and your fingerprints, your ID, your face scan. Basically, all these things are biometric information. All the things that you can use to identify that you are the actual individual here in Nigeria. But the main things are really just bank accounts and your various identification cards, right? Your NIN and things like that. So that is what that is going into, and basically is the way to it's a part of the digital ID system, where basically your identification is completely on the web online, right? And that's why I said this is gradualism towards the MOTBP, because all these biometric passports is just another form of digital ID. Because using that passport now, they can actually identify you and get all your information, right? All your biometric information, name, date of birth, height, so on and so forth, right? And that is really where the suspicion now comes in, because I've always suspected, and that's why going back to the Nigerian elections that held, I believe that was 2023, right? The general elections that held, yeah, that held in Nigeria, either 2022 or 2023. I forget the exact year that the elections held. Oh yeah, 2023. Yeah, it was 2023. It's like I was saying, going back to the Nigerian elections that held in 2023, right? I had my suspicions that I believed that Peter Obi, which is one of the candidates that was running during that time, would actually win the election, because what I believe was that Esau was trying to move, the world forward in order to push his MOTB. Because as it is right now, also the things that COVID showed you is that in the poorer parts of the world, it will be more difficult to actually see hip, right? And implant people the same way it was more difficult to juice up people in poorer parts of the world. So I believe that Esau will try to basically set up all these leaders to advance, the poorer parts of the world, and also set up leaders to force different parts of the world to migrate to like Western countries. And this is the real reason why you have, at least just this is just me speaking as a man, but I believe that this is the reason why you have all these mass immigrations going on all over the earth, where you have the people of these different countries all migrating to the West. And I believe that the reason for that is to get as many people see it as possible by moving them out of these poorer countries into the West, and also trying to improve the infrastructure of these poorer countries in order to be able to actually handle the MOTB when it eventually comes. Because man, Esau is eager as hell to chip you people that are in the world, but the technology is just not there yet. That's just the fact, right? It's just not there yet. The 5G isn't as fast as it should be, especially if you come to places like here in Nigeria, right? The IoT isn't the Internet of Things isn't communicating with each other effectively. Neuralink is still on the fritz, right? Still has a lot of kinks to work out before it could actually be acceptable and used, right? And ESO is just constantly improving on the CHIP technology to make it even more effective at keeping and storing all your information and making it easier to control you with. Because let's not forget that the reason why this SIP is even being made, it isn't for easy access, or all your information in one place, or make it easier to buy or sell. That's what Esau does when he's trying to push his wickedness. He pushes it, you know, under the disguise of it being an advancement, of it being something that can move the world forward. No marvel, right? For Satan disguised himself as an angel of the light. So Esau will always frame his wickedness as something that is good, and something that the world needs, which shows you that he truly is the devil, which the Bible speaks of. So let's keep reading. So now continuing on, Goita also said they were planning to launch a shared information channel in order to promote a harmonious dissemination of information in our three states. ECOWAS has warned that the three countries' withdrawal would undermine the freedom of movement and common market of the 400 million people living in the 49-year bloc. Their departure comes as their armies battle groups linked to Al Qaeda and Islamic State, whose insurgencies have destabilized the region over the past decade and threaten to spill over into coastal West African states, right? Because if you look at a map, places like Niger and Mali are directly bordering North Africa, right? So that's your Libya, your Algeria, and so on and so forth, right? So that's basically that, right? Just a brief summary to explain the situation. And what they're doing is this is just more gradualism towards the MOTB. It's more desensitization towards the MOTB. So now ISO is basically just putting or showing you how we can integrate all these systems together, right? Where you have all your information stored in one place and all your information easily accessed from one medium, whether it is through your ID card, through your international passport, through your even your banks can easily access all your information, right? And it's all being done under the disguise of making sure that in order to verify that it is you, no identity theft, right? No fraudulent use of your personal details. But in reality, what it is actually for is to have more control over you and to have all the information concerning you, because all this information that is being extracted from you and stored, what do you think is being done with it? This is how you have that all these reports about how these various mega big tech companies are always selling their user information to advertisers. It's all being done in order to push ESO's NW. And what is NWO entails is the use, right, the implementation and the mandating of the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast. So let's get this precept. Let's just bring this out, right? Because, and you know what, let's just bring this out now that we have a chance to, because the time is coming where we will not be able to actually, bring out this precept as much as we want to, mainly because of, ESO coming down and censoring any information that links the MOTB to the RFID implantable microchip, and also the famine of the world starting. So this is the book of Revelation 13, verse 16. And he, of course, referring to the beast system, NATO and the EU, the elites of Esau, this world government, that is this world government that is currently in rulership right now, the last kingdom. So now Revelation 13, verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and born, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no, Slovakia, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. I don't know why this phone is just messing up so much, So lucky about that. What's going on? So lucky, I don't know why this phone is messing up so much. Okay, so lucky about that. So once again, Revelation 13, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might. This again, Slovakia. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right, and the mark that is being spoken of here, if you go into the Greek, right, let's go to that. The word there is charagma. Charagma. Okay, let's go to that. Which basically means something implanted, something that is put inside you, because we know that the mark is a physical mark. Okay, so this is Strong's G 5480. Strong's G 5480. Charagma. Charagma. Charagma, and it reads a stamp, an imprinted mark of mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. A mark branded upon horses, things carved, sculptures, graven work, and basically, what it is a palisade, the tool that is being used in order to imprint the mark on people, right? And it's not going to be a branding or a tattoo or anything like that, but rather this implantable microchip, because what the charagma represents, it represents the delivery system. In other words, the syringe. Because if you look at the structure of a syringe, it's the same as a chisel, which was used in the same way to engrave and imprint marks on objects. The same way that marks were engraved and imprinted on objects, marks will be engraved and imprinted on people. And that's why you have the RFID microchip being inserted into you. And that's where you get, the in place with the MOTB, whether it's in your hand or in your forehead, whether it's through, the MOTB in your hand or in your forehead, which of course the forehead own, rather the head own represents the neural link. Okay, but this is what all these systems are leading to. Whenever you see, this push to integrate information, or this push to advance information technology in order to make sharing information easier, sharing in order to make sharing information easier, right? In order to make purchases easier, in order to push for a more connected world, that is actually gradualism towards the MOTBB, because ultimately that is one of the features, right? The miracles that Esau Edom will claim using the MOTB, that is possible to do. That, oh, the world is all your information is connected into one central point, right? Sharing information is easier than ever before. You can use your RFID micro C chip and store your medical information, store all your security information, so your door log details, your office your office log details, now to get into work, right? And you already have that's happening right now, where you have people using the implantable RFID chips in order to clock in and clock out of work, open their house door, open their car door, to buy and to sell and to make purchases, right? And that's ultimately what Ethereum is moving towards. So things like your contactless payments, right? Things like your even your normal your regular biometrical system using fingerprints or using facial recognition or even using AI in order to verify information. All these things are gradualism, gradually process is leading towards the MOTB. And this should even show you that even these leaders that you believe that are for the people, ultimately they, at the end of the day, I won't say that they are, but let's just say they may be in the pockets and still be puppets of Esau Edom and his and still be pushing towards his NWO. So with that, I'll end the video right there. Once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High. How about Shami or Shaiba or Shamra Kalkwadash? Wa abad babal. Shalom.